So yesterday we found out that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder would finally be fighting on the same card, in the same place, on the same night. They're practically having a dressing room meters away from each other, but for some reason can't quite seem to get that fight on. Now we're going to react to this press conference because the card is pretty good, so we'll see if this changes my mind, but honestly I'm still pretty pissed off.
Over there to my right, over there to your left, the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, who would like to say a few words.
Thank you, His Excellency. And my God, does he look excellent. I actually don't know, like, the status this guy has, because to me, His Excellency, I don't know what we reserve that for. In Britain, we've just kind of got Your Highness, and that's the King. No one else really gets a cool title. I'd quite like a title. His Massiveness. We'd all like to thank His Massiveness for blessing us with his presence today, Mr. True Geordie.
I'm glad to be here today. This is an amazing day for the boxing fans.
It's a bit of a letdown, to be honest. It's a bit like Christmas when you're a kid, you know. You wanted Buzz Lightyear. Didn't get him. We got you the dinosaur instead. So, better than nothing. It is, yeah. I wanted Buzz Lightyear. Still haven't gotten over it.
Great card. This is the beginning. Not the beginning, the next.
I don't think you rehearsed this.
When Frank Warner, my friend, said from 4 months ago, it's a game changer, it's mean it. It is game changer.
Life's too short to sit and listen to this, right? But what we have to say is they are trying to make good fights, and they're trying to save my football club. So you can say what you want about Saudi. They're cool with me.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Cheers, Your Excellency. What a guy.
This is historical. It is a game changer. And you know what changed the game? The first fight we did.
Yeah, kinda. Let's not forget, Anthony Joshua was the first big star to step foot on Saudi soil and put on a big event. So really, he's trying to pat Fury on the back, but AJ was the actual trailblazer. He was the first one. So let's not forget that.
We're all working together to make these fights happen. And you know why we're doing it? We're doing it for the fans.
Yeah, you're not going to get me on that one. This could have happened years and years ago. The fans wanted it then. You haven't just all of a sudden went, well, I tell you what, let's just do it for the fans. That's not how boxing promoters work. The reality is, boxing promoters are always worried about putting their fighters up against other boxing promoters' fighters, because if you lose, all the value that you've built up in your fighter is then attached to the other guy, and the money that you could have made out of your guy diminishes. So what they do is they make a whole bunch of excuses about how you tried to do this and you're trying to do that, and they set up a bunch of easy fights, and then eventually, when it feels like you've run out of anywhere else to go and you've maxed out as much money as you can make on your fighter, you do what they call cashing in. Now, the reason that we're getting these fights now is Saudi Arabia are offering so much money that it's impossible for these fighters and their promoters to say no. It has got fuck all to do with the fans. Ironically, I think the only people who do care about the fans in this whole thing are Saudi Arabia, because they want the fans to get excited and go there and see the fights. But Frank Warren doesn't give a shit about the fans, mate. I'm not saying he hates the fans, or, you know, he wouldn't rather the fans enjoy the fights, but he doesn't do anything for the fans. That's not his motivator. This is the man who made Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora 3. A fight nobody wanted to see, but he knew he could cash in on it because Fury's loyal fans would be silly enough to turn up and pay the money. It didn't matter about the fans getting a quality fight.
Make no bones about it. He has made this happen, and we're delighted to all be a part of it.
The one thing I will give Frank Warren credit for is the fact that he has used Tyson Fury to pin his business to, and it's helped elevate Queensberry as a promotion. So now, he's now in with the Saudis, and he's now bringing Eddie's fighters onto the show. That is such a role reversal when it felt like for years, Eddie was the most powerful promoter. I think it's still very close, don't get me wrong, but it's a huge power play for Frank Warren, this, massively. And he does owe Tyson Fury a lot.
Thank you, Brother Turkey, for putting on this event.
I'm surprised to see Jarrell Miller back on a card like this. Look, I know he's not the main event, so they're not risking money on him, but the way he let down Matchroom by popping for every drug under the sun before his fight with Anthony Joshua, he's got some cheek turning up to this. But look, to be fair, the guy's a fun fighter to watch, and he's fighting Daniel Dubois. That is a really interesting fight. You've also got one of the best in the world in Dimitri Bivol on this card. I'm not going to listen to his interview because fuck me, I'd rather watch paint dry. But the guy can punch, and he's a hell of a fighter. In the words of Floyd Mayweather. Hell of a fighter.
I'm kicking his ass, and I'm sending him to early retirement, plain and simple.
Credit to Jarrell, though, that he can talk some shit. He's actually selling this fight right now.
Bring in Daniel Dubois here.
What's he wearing a bow tie for? This ain't James Bond. You're fighting Big Baby Miller.
Excited for it, you know, this is it. Big time boxing, baby. I want to chop that tree down.
He tried, didn't he? He really gave it his best.
Do you have anything to say to anyone else up here?
Oh, they can all kiss my black ass. Deontay and AJ. I don't like none of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm trying to say? But one thing I can tell you is that after I finish with Dubois, I definitely want Manuel Chark because he got that belt.
AJ's got that look in his eye. Yeah. Do you know what? There's two different versions of AJ, and this is the one that we all prefer. He looks like he's angry.
We all know for a fact that AJ don't want no smoke with Deontay.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes. Tell him, AJ.
Don't start with me. You know I come over there and slap you, and I see you brought your mum here again.
Kick your ass last time.
I see you brought your mum here again because you need a rent paid.
AJ says, I can see you brought your mum with you because you need that rent paid. What the f?
Like I was saying, we all know that AJ don't want no smoke with Deontay. As much as I don't like Deontay, I know Deontay will put that motherfucker in the grave.
I think it's interesting that even now, other fighters are calling AJ out for not wanting to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, I know Big Baby is just chatting the way he does, but he doesn't even like Deontay, and even he's saying, Deontay wants that fight, you don't. Whether it's true, you can speculate, but right now, we're at an event where AJ and Wilder are on it and not fighting each other, and previously, Deontay has been the one who's been more vocal about getting a fight on. So it definitely feels like Deontay is a little more keen. Now, you could make the argument that that's because AJ has other options. He wants the world title again, and that could be lining up for him early on in the near future. But in playground rules, the guy who's shouting his mouth off and calling you out is the aggressor. Therefore, if you don't step up to that, then you look like you've lost anyway. And that's kind of what Big Baby's pointing out right now.
Not doing nothing to me. Watch your mouth.
You let my little cousin
watch your mouth.
You soft for the
watch
baby
your mouth.
shit.
I'll come over
Stop
and
running from
slap
me.
it for you.
I must admit, I'd much rather Big Baby Miller versus AJ than Otto Wallen versus AJ. It's just so much more entertaining. I don't know who put this fucking card together, who thought this was the right way to go. Maybe it's due to AJ wanting the title fight, so therefore Otto Wallen's a ranking fight, but Otto Wallen.
Man, the fuck up and fight somebody with a heartbeat, bro.
What he's saying there is basically, in his last few fights, he's been expected to steamroll everyone in front of him, AJ. There's no jeopardy, there's no excitement, which is shown in the O2 ticket sales, in the lack of a pay-per-view from DAZN. They didn't feel like that was even that marketable. Big Baby, while I think he is just trying to challenge AJ, he's actually pointing out some things that are the way the fans are feeling about him. We want to see you in a fight that we don't automatically expect and know you'll win.
Daniel Dubois got to stop this. We can't have it.
This guy.
Daniel, anything to say?
Wow, this guy's quick.
One of the co-main events on December 23rd pits the former two-time unified world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, not against Jarrell Miller. He is taking on
Jarrell Miller.
I do like AJ's angriness though. Yeah, this is what we want to see from him. He looks like he's coming for a knockout. He looks like the old AJ right now.
I do think he will fight Miller one day.
You ain't my promoter to judge what I'm going to do in my career.
You know, if AJ says something like that to you and you're like that little guy in the middle, probably just move on. AJ doesn't seem in the mood to have a joke with you.
He boxed in April, he boxed in August, and now he boxes in December.
On that, I am glad to see AJ is fighting more regularly again. It's better for his development, better for his sharpness, better for his confidence. This is exactly what he should be doing. But there is one worry, and that's when AJ keeps stepping in the ring with below his level fighters who he is expected to beat, and they expect him to beat them. When you eventually step foot in a ring with a guy who really thinks, I am going to beat you tonight, it can come as a shock. And Tyson Fury found that out better than anyone. Dillian Whyte was trashing that fight. Chisora wasn't even worth turning up. Neither of them believed they could win that fight. Now, to be fair, AJ's last two opponents have had a bit more in them than them two, but the point is, similarly, he was expected to beat them, and I think they fucking knew it. If you pick the wrong guy who you think, I'm going to breeze past this guy, and he hasn't got that memo the way Francis Ngannou didn't, all of a sudden, you're in a real fight and you weren't expecting it. And that's the main risk with picking guys who you're always expected to beat. And let's be honest, Otto Wallen is kind of one of those guys who you expect him to beat. But against Tyson Fury, Otto Wallen did show, I think I can win this. And if he brings that same attitude into this fight with AJ, we could see this whole shit fall apart what? Between whatever AJ wants to do with Wilder or a title shot or whatever, we could waste all of this on Otto fucking Wallen. A man who I don't think is quick. I don't think he's that strong. I don't think he's technically that great. He's a bit awkward because he's big and he's a southpaw. Aside from that, I don't really rate him that highly. He's all right. But one thing he did have against Fury is inner belief. And AJ better be ready for that.
Philip Hrgovic down there, the IBF #1. Otto Wallen is IBF #2. This lines up everything for Anthony Joshua.
I think I know where Eddie Hearn's going with this. In reality, the fans want Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. I don't think Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, unless the money is astronomically undeniable, I don't think they have any intention of fighting Deontay Wilder anytime soon. I think the goal is to beat Otto Wallen. That then puts him high on the rankings of the IBO World title. When Fury and Usyk have their fight and we get an undisputed winner, one of them will be stripped of that belt because they are unable to then carry on defending it because they're in a rematch straight away. That belt will then be up for grabs. AJ will then fight Hrgovic for the IBO World title. He will then be a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, and then we might see him go and fight Fury or Wilder, because then his bargaining power will be high enough so that he can then get into a fight with Fury and not be the complete nutter B-side, which is what he is right now. He hasn't got a belt. So his bargaining power is going to be key to this. I don't think for one second, by the way, that AJ is scared of Wilder. I just think that's a check you cash when it's good and ready. And I don't think that as much as other people are looking at AJ right now thinking he doesn't look the fighter he used to be, I think mentally he doesn't feel that way at all. He's like, I'm on the road to another title, me. And then I'm going to try and reclaim everything. I'm going to try and beat Fury. I think Fury is actually the fight he wants more than Wilder even. And ironically, I think for Fury, it would be over his dead body. Because let's say Fury loses to Usyk. Well, then his legacy is severely under question. And I think he'd rather retire than give Anthony Joshua a chance of beating him. Because if AJ then beats Fury, everything Fury's ever said is absolute bollocks. For him, I don't know how he would handle that mentally. Because I think there's a lot of jealousy from Fury towards Anthony Joshua. Because AJ spent so many years as Britain's golden boy. And AJ was loved by people. Whereas Fury for a long time wasn't. So I think that there's a lot of deep-rooted jealousy, and I think that will stand in the way of this fight even being made, because by that point, in theory, Fury should have made so much money from the Usyk 2 fights, he won't even need to fight AJ. Whereas AJ would want that fight, not just for money, but for legacy. And I think that that tells you all you need to know about the difference between AJ and Fury, deep down. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope we do see that fight. Just remember what I said, the goal for AJ is actually Fury, not Wilder. And actually, I think Fury is a far better matchup for AJ than Wilder is. I think Wilder's the hardest matchup for AJ possible.
Thank you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for putting on this show. It's really unbelievable what they've done in 1 week.
So this guy, as I said, I don't rate him very highly, but the main danger for AJ is he's actually going to come and try and win. And I don't think AJ's last 2 opponents really did that. They didn't put it on him. It could make for a better fight for AJ. It could mean that he gets the highlight reel knockout because someone's actually committing. And if AJ brings this attitude, this nasty, spiteful attitude, we will see him knock this guy out.
I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. And I'm sticking to that plan. I set out a plan at the start of this year, and I'm sticking to that. I'm a man of my word. I stand firm on what I believe, and I believe I'm going to be 3-time heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes, I like it. I know he's training, I think, with Ben Davidson, which is an interesting move. I am a little bit worried that he keeps changing trainers. I don't know what's going on there. The guy's got kids in the UK. He doesn't want to be in America all the time, so maybe that's why. And Ben's a good trainer, so I hope that works for him. He seems very confident here, so that's giving me confidence, to be fair.
This is the 4th fight in the year. And it's a fight that really excites me.
That's the only advantage Joseph Parker has in this fight. He has been busy. Wilder's had 3 minutes of action in the last 2 years or something. It's not been anywhere near enough. The only hope for Joseph Parker is that Wilder has somehow slowed down, has lost his touch, and Joseph can come out and really put on a performance inspired by some of the tactics that Tyson Fury used against Wilder. I mean, the guy carries Fury's bags, for Christ's sake. He must get some tips off of him. As much as I like Joseph Parker, I don't give him a chance in this. But you could argue this is the main event. As much as AJ, I think, has the biggest name on stage and has sold far more pay-per-views than anyone else, they're both former world champions. Otto Wallen wasn't, as far as I'm aware. So this is 2 ex-champions. You could argue that they should be the main event.
When people come to see heavyweight boxing, they come to see excitement. But most of all, they come to see knockouts. And one thing for sure, you know, when I come, that's what I come to deliver.
You're damn right he does. It's interesting to see him and AJ sort of exchanging these little looks here. They are on a collision course, and it would be such a shame if we never get this fight, and that's why I was so pissed off. It's like, you guys could have made the fight. You've deliberately chose not to. Was 6 weeks training enough? It might have come down to that a little bit, but I really hope we see it one day.
I'm coming to do the same thing. I'm on the same mission, you know, to regain my title back.
The only worry for Deontay Wilder is how much did those Fury fights take out of him? We really don't know, because he got the last guy out there so quick. He wasn't tested physically, but he really gave everything in those Fury fights. So I'm interested to know, when he gets in there with a live one, how much has he got left?
You talked about having to get a plane to come over here and speak to Anthony Joshua. Do you have anything to say to him here at this press conference table?
You know, it's good to be in the same room with him, to see him face to face. You know, it's been a long time coming. I wish you nothing but the best, bro. And hopefully soon we can get it on in the ring and get the people what they want once and for all. But I wish you nothing but the best.
It feels like he's playing a bit of a game there. He's trying not to be overly aggressive. I think he realizes, like, the AJ fight is one of the biggest money fights he'll ever get, and he is more likely to get it if he acts with respect than if he acts like a dickhead. And that's in the hands of AJ. It clearly, by the way he's paying him that respect, it's clearly up to AJ if this fight happens. Therefore, we know almost with certainty, this is all in AJ's hands now. Outside of Usyk Fury, AJ has all the power in world heavyweight boxing. So it's going to be up to him. Fairly big height difference between Wilder and Parker. No one's given anything away. Pretty calm. I think we'll see a lot more on Fight Week. Next up, AJ versus Otto Wallen. Otto Wallen giving it the smiles. Very confident. It's easy to be like that when you haven't got to fight the guy in the next day or whatever. Wallen's giving it the big one. Seems really confident here. AJ's not having any of it, is he? This energy from AJ is so different to previous fights. He seems a lot more in the zone here. You look at AJ and just the sheer size of his arms and that. He's just got so much power compared to Otto Wallen. The one thing Wallen did have against Fury was a pretty good chin, though. I will give him that. He was durable, grinded it out, really gave him some problems. This is good for AJ in that sense. He's not going to be in there with someone who he's just going to go and run through quickly. But if he does that, and Fury couldn't, it sends a message. Oh, AJ's getting in closer. There's no fear there at all. He's putting his finger right in his fucking face. He's letting him know who the boss is, isn't he? Nah, I'm sorry, mate. You don't look like you're going to beat AJ. So that was the press conference. Yes, I am going to enjoy this fight card. Yes, it's a good card. People are comparing it to UFC level cards. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's sort of like that. You know, there's no actual titles on the line, but it's looking like a fairly good UFC card. And ironically, by boxing standards, this is like amazing. So that just shows where the UFC and boxing are. And I think what we gauged from this, at least what I took from it, was the plan of Anthony Joshua, and the truth of why he really didn't take the Wilder fight was he's got his eyes on that world title. He then wants to go and fight Tyson Fury. I don't think he's actually that fussed on Wilder by comparison. Whereas Wilder, I think AJ is the fight for him. So make of that what you will. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think anyone's ducking anyone? Do you think AJ is right to go for the world title and then try and find the Fury fight? Or do you think they should just scrap this afterwards, get the Wilder versus AJ fight on? Is that the one you want most? What do you want most? Let us know in the comments. I'm interested to know. Don't forget to hit that like button. Stay subscribed to the Pain Game YouTube channel. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you on the next one.